Charlotte from Yarns About Yarn, and in this tutorial I want to show you how I made my new stitch called the Twisted Ribbon Fringe. I'm using this as an edging on my Cancer Ribbon Pocket Shawl. It's got a nice interior hidden pocket, and I wanted to carry the ribbon awareness concept through on the edging to just make it a little extra special. It starts out by making a twisted fringe, which is an excellent edging to use on a variety of projects. I've used it on some other things. I like it on scarves, and I like it on shawls as well. And it's once you get your twisted fringe made, then I'm going to show you how to turn it into the ribbon twisted fringe. So let's get started. One of the first things that you have to determine is how long you actually want your finished fringe. And in my case, it's just slightly over 4 inches, just a little over 4 inches. So to have this finished measurement of 4 inches, we actually need to start out with a loop that is twice the length of what we require for a finished measurement. And in my case, I used a loop which was approximately 10.5 inches. The other thing that we have to have is we have to have some way of measuring this loop. And there's a variety of tools that you can use. You can use a tape measure if you have one that you can lock into position, and you can pull your loop to the length that you want on your tape measure. You can use the length of a book, you can use your laptop computer, whatever works for you. What I do is I actually find it very convenient to use a freckle that I have on my arm, and you can see that I have a freckle right here, and I find that pulling my loop the length from holding my hook in my arm and pulling my loop up to this freckle gives me exactly the measurement I want. If I didn't have the freckle, I could put an elastic band or some masking tape or tie a piece of yarn around there for whatever measurement you want. But I find this easier, works out really well for me, and I find it easier to do than fumbling with a measuring tape or ruler or something else. So let's get started on the procedure of actually doing this. And I'm going to start on the other end of this wrap because we've got a few stitches to go here. So I'm going to back out this stitch here and use my crochet hook. And what I'm doing is I'm actually putting a slip stitch between each of my fringes to space them out. So I've made my slip stitch, and now I'm going to make my loop for my fringe. So I'm going to start by making a slip stitch, and when I pull my loop through, I'm going to pull my loop out to the measurement that I want, the desired measurement that I want. And as I mentioned, in my case, I use this freckle. Now if you take notice, I'm holding my hook in my hand pretty perpendicular. If I was to push it forward, it's going to make my loop longer, and if I let it fall backwards, it'll actually make my loop shorter. So try to hold your hook in the same position each time and go to the measurement that you require or that you've determined is the right measurement for you. Once you do that, hold your finger here so it doesn't pull out, and I'm going to put my other finger just on the hook here so the yarn doesn't fall off my hook, and we're going to start twisting like this. Now the number of twists that you use is dependent upon the length of the loop you're using and how tight you want that loop to be. I want the loop to be pretty tight so that it'll hold the ribbon shape. So in this case, I'm actually twisting 25 times. So I've already done 2, so let's do the rest. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So you see it's quite twisted, and the media, as soon as I give it some slack, it's going to start to twist over itself. So I'm going to go back into the same stitch that I made the initial slip stitch, and I'm going to yarn over. I should show you here on the end, there's a loop on the end of the hook. So we're going to go back into the stitch, yarn over, pull the yarn through, and pull it through that loop on the end of my hook. So that completes the ribbon fringe. And you can see it's all kind of muddled up here, but you just take it and just do some adjustments, and it'll twist onto itself and make a nice fringe, twisted fringe. So I'm going to show you that again. So I'm going to make my slip stitch between my fringe, and I'm going to make the next slip stitch. This is the stitch that we're actually going to make our fringe, and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to measure to my freckle on my arm. I'm keeping my hook perpendicular, so I'm not making it shorter or longer. I'm holding it at this end so it doesn't pull out, and I'm putting my finger here so that it doesn't twist off my hook, and I'm going to twist 25 times. 3, 25, you see it's twisted. I'm going to go back into the stitch that I started, that I made the slip stitch. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull that yarn through the loop that's on my hook, and I'm just going to adjust the fringe and let it twist upon itself. So can we do that one more time? My slip stitch between my fringe pieces, slip stitch into the next stitch, pull my loop through, pull it through to the measurement that I want to my freckle, keeping my hook perpendicular. Hang on this end so it doesn't pull out, and with this end I'm going to twist. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Go back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull the yarn through, pull it through the loop on the end of my hook, and slip and stitch into the next stitch to lock it in, and just come back and readjust your fringe so that the loop will self twist nicely on itself. So there are your fringes that we just made. It's a great detail to use on all kinds of projects. I've used it on scarves and other wraps, but this one I wanted to just sort of up the ante a bit and turn that fringe into the ribbon fringe. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So to make our ribbon fringe, you have to make sure that you have an even number of fringes on the bottom of your project, whatever you're working on. But what we're going to do is I want to cross them over. So I'm going to take the one loop and I'm just going to pull it apart a little bit and stick the other loop through there and make the adjustment. And you want to sort of have them crossing over at relatively the same position. So again, I'm going to pull it apart. I'm going to stick it through, let it self twist back on itself again, have it in the same position, and you can see it gives the look of the cancer awareness ribbon that we wear. I think it's sort of a fun thing to add to a project like this. It makes it a bit more meaningful. Now to secure that into position, I'm going to take a piece of yarn and I'm going to join it in the back here. I'll weave in the ends later. I'm just wanting to show you how to do this. And I'm going to weave it down through this yarn to where I have them joined. And I'm just going to tack it in place. And I'm going to come back up the other side, just weave it through the twisted yarn up to the edge of the project. And that secured it in position. I'll just weave it through to the next stitch, to the next ribbon fringe, and you don't have to pull it tight, it's just tacking it in place. Weave it down through the ribbon, bring it up to tack it through where it crosses over, and bring it back up. To that position, and I just continue along the end of tacking it in position, taking along to the end of the row. So it just holds it in position and makes for a nice ribbon fringe. If you found this tutorial helpful, I hope you will like and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to sharing more with you. And in the meantime, peace and blue skies.